Welcome, this is StudentRDH. Today I wanted to share how you read the failed report cards. Hopefully you don't get this, but things happen and it's okay if you fail. There are many chances. And I had a question from someone about, hey, I don't understand the report card. And let me tell you why. And let's start first understanding that we have 350 questions in the NBDHE. I'm talking about the American exam, NBDHE. Okay, so 100 questions are about case studies, and that actually is going to be session 2. You actually start with 200 questions that are, I would call it basic science, such as head and neck anatomy or pathology, and simple answer choices, and that's session 1. Okay, so in total we have 350 questions. Now the problem is that here, if you were going to add up all of those guys over here, so you see number of questions, it is going to come out to be 500. Okay, and you don't understand, right? And the student I get, because she's like, oh, why do I have 500 questions when there are actually 350 questions? So let me tell you how you read the reports card actually. So what you see over here, except for case studies, the very last one is called case studies, and you see 150 items. Now if you take those guys and if you add them up, you would actually get 350. Okay, so what this is telling you is that there are 150 questions in case study. We already know that. And this is the national average, and this is what your score is. Okay, I think you understand that part, so let's forget about this. Now, why are they 350 questions over here in total when the actual total number should be here? And students usually, and I would also think that if I had a report card like that, all of those would add up to 200 questions, because I have another 150 over here, so in total it would be 350. Well, here if you look at some items, they have many questions. Okay, why? Because those questions also are reflected into the case studies. Okay, so 73 questions on patient assessment, which is probably about how you treat them, what conditions, medical condition they have, and how you provide care. For example, those are divided into here, case studies and also basic science. That's why they are 73 questions. They are many questions in session 1 and session 2. Same for radiology. Each patient comes with the chart, comes with some conditions, and we also document all the time. That's why for every case study you also have radiology included. That's why you see so many questions, because you will see in session 1 and also in session 2, and same for the hygiene process of care. Okay, so all of those together are 350 questions. That means it includes case studies. Okay, so what this tell you here is that this is how many questions they are in session 1 and session 2 combined. Okay, I'm just gonna make a note over here, and this is going to be combined. They actually are helping you by telling you it doesn't matter whether it's session 1 or session 2. Those are the questions, the many number of questions that you're going to see, and this is the national average, and this is the amount of correct answers that you had. And this really tells you, hey, I should just study a little more about patient assessment, radiology, and dental hygiene management, which I call process of care. So this is how you read it. Now this is just, I would say this is like a bonus, saying, hey, in case studies, actually this is my score. Okay, but understand again that it's reflected already in here. So let me try to explain to you how you should actually get your strategy when making your next study plan if you failed before. So let me just make another note over here, and I would call it the strategy. Okay, so let's talk about this. So first of all, I would assess what are my weaknesses. I am not going to look at case study because it's already reflected in here. Okay, what are my weaknesses? I look at the average and I look at what have I not done enough, good enough to the national average. So this is close. I would just circle them, microbiology here, pathology, pharmacology, your assessment. This is actually good. Big over here, and all right, this is close, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, from here, the big ones to me were actually, I'm going to put them in yellow. They were this guy, management, and then there was maybe periodontology, and I would even say preventive agents, because there's a big gap between the national average and what the student had scored. Okay, so, and I would take the weaknesses and I would start with those weaknesses to study. So the reason, because our mind is trained to repeat what we actually know. It's easier, so it's actually feels good, but we really have to tackle the difficult parts. Okay, for me, right, when I see this is you have to study management, dental hygiene, process of care in StudentRDH, periodontology, and preventative agent. We also have it within process of care because it's about the flora, it's about the many different things that you can do to help the patient, including maybe even some assessment regarding their habits of eating. So you just look at this and you make yourself a study plan and start with those weaknesses, and then you tackle the rest. Okay, tackle the rest, and you don't want to start with your strength though. Okay, now let's talk about the case studies. Case studies are just a compilation of many different things that come up in one case, such as the radiograph, I'm just going to put R, the chart, the patient profile, such as 23 years old, male, things like that, and then photo. So all those things combined will make a case, and then there are many different questions, right? And I wouldn't go straight to say, hey, I'm going to start doing more case studies. I would actually review the content. This is our foundation. If you're anything, this is going back to the solid base that you have to know anyways to tackle the case studies. So the case studies, I would actually do them very last after I review all my weaknesses, and I know I am getting better at tackling those weaknesses. I hope this makes sense. And then the last thing I would actually do is understand the national average. Just a quick look saying, okay, let's see the national average. There are 16 questions. This is 10. Usually it's about 50, 60 to 70%. And you can see radiology. So I'm going to highlight this one. See, it's almost at half. More than half, but the reason I highlight this is because this is difficult for everybody. This is what I want you to understand. And because this is difficult, obviously we want to try to study a little more, okay? And this is just an indication of what chapters are important. So I have these questions all the time from students. What is the most important chapter? Okay, that's why I say radiology. There's a reason for it, because you are going to be asked a whole lot of questions and the national average is not great. So if you can perform well on this, you're going to get a great score. And also I tell them dental hygiene process of care, okay, that's most important. And then I also go to community health. The reason why is because you will actually see a lot more community health questions that you probably have anticipated. If you look, there's 24 questions. If you look at anatomy, microbiology, they range from 10 to, I would say, 14, 16. While community has 24. So there's a lot more question that you might think there is in actually session 1. Okay, so for me, the big three are radiology, process of care that we have at StudentRDH, and community health, also called community oral health in StudentRDH. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, my name is Claire. I'm the founder of StudentRDH. You can find me at clairej@studentrdh.com. Thank you.